Welcome back to the Crypto channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is currently bouncing from this exact level of support within a short-term bearish trend, as the Bitcoin dominance is continuing to bounce from this critical area of support here, which is not good news for the altcoin market, while Ethereum is continuing to play out a massive warning signal on this larger time frame here, while the price of XRP is perfectly bouncing from this exact Fibonacci level of support, while the price of Sui is potentially repeating history, playing out a significant bearish signal. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, which indicates a larger bull market. But on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, we're actually getting closer towards potentially confirming a massive bearish divergence on the weekly time frame, which is a significant warning signal to pay attention to. And the last bearish divergence we saw actually confirm and play out was this one right here between these two highs. And ultimately that played out in the form of a major pullback that lasted around 2 months, give or take. And the time before that was this little one right here, resulting in a pullback of around 1 to 2 months. Then the time before that was this bearish divergence, resulting in the 2022 bear market. And so potentially at the end of this week, we may end up seeing some confirmation here at this weekly candle close at the end of the week once again, which would be the first confirmation to actually help to confirm this new bearish divergence on the weekly time frame, which is something to pay attention to once again. And if we're taking a look at this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, we're getting closer towards potentially a bearish crossover in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD, indicating an increase in bearish momentum and obviously a lack in bullish momentum. And the last couple of times we saw a bearish crossover in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD, we either saw just a bit of a short-term pullback before ultimately more bullish price action later on, or potentially a larger pullback still to come in the price of Bitcoin. So overall pointing towards at least a little bit more of a slowdown, at least in the short term for the price of Bitcoin. And if we're taking a look at this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, technically speaking, we have not yet actually invalidated the cup and handle pattern. But with that being said, obviously, as I've already been saying for around a week now, we're lacking bullish momentum in the short term. We're seeing a lot of weakness in the short term, and ultimately this pattern will simply invalidate if we see a break below 110,000, which at this point is looking likely. So I'll not rely heavily on this pattern right here. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, once again, as I've been saying every day for around 1 to 2 weeks now, since pretty much all the way back up here, I've been saying expect the price to struggle a lot in the short term and expect a lot of weakness for the price of Bitcoin. And I've been saying that every day for the last 1 to 2 weeks now. And obviously that's simply due to the fact that we're running into very significant resistance for the price, basically at roughly 120,000 to 123,000. So in the low 120k area, we had a lot of resistance there, preventing the price from going any higher. And then just over the last 1 to 2 weeks, especially the last 1 week, give or take, we've started to see a major bearish trend form in the daily Bitcoin RSI. So once again, like I've been saying every day for over a week now, since these higher prices here, I've been saying the last time this happened, we saw more of a pullback still to come for the price of Bitcoin. The last time we saw this happen was around end of May, entering into June this year. And so basically, don't be surprised if the price continues to play out a lot of weakness, maybe a little bit more of a pullback in the next few days or possibly weeks as a very likely scenario. Once again, as I've already been warning about since basically the all-time high. And if we're taking a look at this 4-hour Bitcoin price chart, it is clear that at least in the short term, we're now clearly within a short-term bearish trend, forming lower highs and lower lows, with this descending line of resistance sitting at roughly 119,000 and this descending line of support coming into play at around 114.7k. And so clearly just in the immediate short term, we are finding support at this level, which right now is some good news in the immediate short term, but clearly, once again, we're still within a short-term bearish trend. Once again, on this daily time frame, still showing a lot of weakness, and this will likely continue at least for the next few days, possibly the next 1 or 2 weeks as a very likely scenario, quite possibly even retesting these previous highs at around 110 to 112,000 as a likely scenario, a likely price target. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, we can still see that we have that major level of liquidity at around 120 to 121,000. But once again, at least least for now, we're still seeing a lot of weakness in the short term, ultimately causing the price to pull back a little bit. So even though we have that liquidity there, obviously we cannot ignore the fact that we don't really have a lot of bullish momentum in the market right now. And so over the last 1 week, give or take, the price made a couple of attempts here and there to try to push closer towards that liquidity, but ultimately that liquidity is still sitting there. So maybe at some point in the future, we come back up towards that level. But for now, ultimately, we're just simply within a short-term bearish trend, lacking a bullish momentum. And if anything, now gaining a small amount of bearish momentum, especially if we confirm this new bearish crossover. But obviously, as we continue to see a bit of a pullback in the price of Bitcoin, of course, this will ultimately present some buying opportunities, potentially at some lower prices, which I will be sharing here on the channel if I'm buying Bitcoin. But more recently, obviously, I've been sharing short position opportunities to actually short or make profits during the pullback, especially for the altcoin market while the Bitcoin dominance is bouncing. But just before talking about that and some major trading opportunities in the altcoin market, first, if you want to actually trade at these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any crypto, you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And personally, I'm taking a lot of my crypto trades over on BTNX, so I'll make sure to leave a link to BTNX below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some massive trading and deposit bonuses. For example, up to $40,000 in trading bonuses and also $200 in deposit bonuses. So for example, if you make an account using that link and deposit just $1,000, you get a $200 bonus into your BTNX account. It's basically free money from the exchange, which you can actually use to trade on your BTNX account. But these massive bonuses here are only available if you use the link below this video to actually make your BTNX account. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway or preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go using that link to take advantage of these major bonuses here. And in case you're wondering, BTNX is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want BTNX as an exchange, there's also 2bit as another option out there, another exchange that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where there's currently a massive $3 million trading competition happening right now over on 2bit. And if you use the link below this video, it'll take you to this page where you can actually join my crypto world team in this trading competition. You can join completely for free. And if we end up placing well in the competition, we could potentially win some massive prizes here from this massive $3 million total prize pool. And so once again, I'll leave a link to this page, second link below this video. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance, and at least for now, despite the fact that this bearish divergence is technically still active, we've not yet confirmed an invalidation signal to invalidate the bearish divergence. But despite that being the case, technically we're still holding this area as support and currently bouncing in the short term in the Bitcoin dominance, as I've already been saying over the last 1 to 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks now. And so once again, as I've been warning about, this is not good news for the altcoin market. So don't be fooled by a bunch of other people out there in crypto YouTube, crypto Twitter, saying that the altcoins are looking extremely bullish right now, because while the Bitcoin dominance is holding above this support, the altcoins are simply not bullish. This is not what this means. Essentially, if, in case you're new to all of this, when the Bitcoin dominance is bullish, that means Bitcoin is doing better than most altcoins. So most altcoins on average are underperforming, are doing worse than whatever Bitcoin is doing. And if Bitcoin is pulling back in a short-term bearish trend, showing a lot of weakness right now, if the altcoins currently with the Bitcoin dominance bouncing, if the altcoins are doing worse than whatever Bitcoin is doing, obviously that means the altcoins are currently bearish on average. Now, obviously there are some outliers here and there. Of course, not every single altcoin in the entire market is going to all be bearish, but just on average, a lot of the altcoins right now overall are simply bearish while the Bitcoin dominance is in this bounce here. And so once again, this is exactly what I've been warning about every day for at least the last week, if not almost 2 weeks now on the channel. Because if we're taking a look at Ethereum, once again here on the 3-day Ethereum price chart, as I've been warning about, we are now rejecting from this massive area of resistance sitting in between roughly 3.9k to 4.1k. And so obviously, if you've been watching my videos over the last 1 to 2 weeks, this should not be a surprise to you because I've been talking about this every day for a while once again. And if we're taking a look at this daily Ethereum price chart, clearly we're moving closer towards some key points of support. First of all, the first key point of support I'll be watching is in between roughly 3.5k to 3.6k, which we're currently testing as of recording this video. But if we break below 3.5k with candle closes below that level, in that situation, we could possibly pull back down towards around 3.2k to 3.3k. And we're also currently playing out a bearish divergence on the daily Ethereum price chart for the first time since basically around June this year. And if we're simply looking at what happened last time, we did see a major pullback that lasted for roughly around 2 weeks, give or take. As we can see, if we're measuring from this high to this low, that was just under 2 weeks, around a week and a half to 2 weeks. And it was more than a 20% move, almost a 30% move towards the downside from high to low. And so if we're measuring from the current high as of recording this video to the current price as of recording this video, that's only about a 9% move towards the downside, which potentially means we have a lot more downside to go for the price of Ethereum. Now, obviously, just because we saw this outcome last time, it doesn't mean we're going to see the exact same thing this time around. Obviously, it's going to be slightly different in its own way, but either way, it is still pointing in the bearish direction as a very likely scenario in the coming days or possibly weeks. And so this is why I've been saying if you're a crypto trader, it makes the most sense right now to look for short positions and not long positions. A lot of people were longing Ethereum and longing altcoins, telling you to buy altcoins right at the key resistance where there's the most risk of a rejection and a pullback. Whereas here on this channel, I was talking about how we should be looking at short positions, and I actually put my own money on the line with opening short positions for Ethereum over the last few days. And so if you're new to the channel, you could simply watch my last few videos and you could see that I did that in my last few videos over the last few days. But right now I am looking for some short positions for other altcoins as well to basically spread out over the altcoin market, because while the Bitcoin dominance is bullish like this, or at least bouncing from this support, especially if Bitcoin at the same time is showing weakness while the Bitcoin dominance is bouncing, once again, that is bad news for the altcoin market. And if we're taking a look at this 2-day Solana price chart, clearly Solana is continuing the significant rejection from this significant area of resistance, still sitting in between roughly 190 to 200. And as of recording this video, the price of Solana is now testing my exact price target that I've been targeting over the last couple of weeks, sitting at around $167. But if the price actually breaks below that level with confirmation, so candle closes at least on the daily time frame below 167, and if we fail to get back above that level, we could quite possibly see a continued drop down towards this area in between around 143 to 146 as a very likely scenario, a likely price target coming next if we first see a confirmed break below 167. And so for now, this is the key support to pay attention to. And obviously, considering we've not yet confirmed a break below 167, there is the possibility we could see perhaps a little bit of a bounce here. But if we see that confirmation below 167, that could potentially be another little trading opportunity here to short a bearish move, not financial advice. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, it is looking very likely that perhaps near the end of this week, we're about to see a second confirmation signal, potentially confirming this massive bearish divergence here, with higher highs confirmed in the price and lower highs confirming in the weekly XRP RSI, which obviously is not good news for the price of XRP when we're talking about the next few weeks or possibly months, because usually a bearish divergence on the weekly time frame plays out at least over a few weeks. Usually it plays out over a few months as a very likely scenario, and the most common outcomes from a bearish divergence is at best just a sideways consolidation, but usually a bit of a pullback as a likely scenario in the next couple of months here, if this further confirms perhaps at the end of this week. And obviously, if you're an XRP holder, that's not what you want to hear. You want to hear that XRP is about to have a massive gain coming very, very soon. But I'm not going to sit here and lie to you like a lot of other people on the crypto internet, basically telling you that we're going to have massive gains right before a pullback, which I've been warning about over the last 1 to 2 weeks. I'm just simply going to tell you the truth of the matter and potential warning signals to watch out for that we need to be aware of. And if we're taking a look at this daily XRP price chart, at least in the immediate short term, we do have some good news to pay attention to, which is the fact that we're currently bouncing from my exact level of support that I've been targeting this whole time here, sitting at around $2.90 based on this Fibonacci level. So really in between $2.90 to $3 is the area of support that I've been watching. And so far, as of recording this video, to the nearest cent, we've perfectly bounced from this exact Fibonacci level at around $2.90. So once again, in between roughly $2.90 to $3, continue to expect at least some support in that region in the short term here. And so it's possible we may end up seeing just a little bit of a short-term bounce, maybe over the next few hours or days, just in the immediate short term once again. But if the price of XRP ultimately breaks below that level, so if, for example, we confirm a daily candle close below 290, and especially if we fail to get back above that level, in that situation, the next price target towards the downside, the next area of support to watch out for would be sitting in between around $2.55 to $2.62, so close to $2.60 as the next major price target. And so when it comes to XRP, personally, I'm not really interested in shorting XRP right now because we've just run into this major point of support and currently respecting that as support. But if we actually lose this as support, if we break below that area, then we could potentially have a bit of a short position opportunity in this region in the price chart once we break below around 290, or if we break below 290 in between around 290 to 260, that's a possible short position opportunity there. But once again, at least for now, we are currently bouncing from around $2.90 to $3. And just before taking a look at the price of Chainlink, taking a look at one of the top suggested altcoins in the comment section below these videos, which has been Sui. And so looking at Sui on the daily time frame, we can clearly see a massive bearish divergence has already confirmed here. This is a perfect textbook bearish divergence with clean higher highs in the price and lower highs confirmed in the daily Sui RSI. And honestly, this type of price structure right here and this signal looks almost identical to what we saw back here during basically May this year. And of course, what followed that bearish divergence on the same time frame, this daily Sui price chart, was ultimately a major pullback over the next couple of months, around 1 to 2 months, give or take. So basically the second half of May and pretty much almost all of June was a pullback for the price of Sui. And so far, it's been less than 1 week in this pullback right here. And if we're actually measuring the size of that previous pullback from these candle close highs right here down to the candle close lows, that was roughly a 40% move from high to low, or the candle wicks obviously would be a larger move towards the downside, but roughly a 40% move from high to low last time. And so far this time around, we're only down roughly 20%. So potentially we're barely halfway in this pullback here based on what we saw last time. Obviously, just because we saw this last time, it doesn't guarantee we're going to see the exact same thing this time around, but it is important to keep that in perspective. But when it comes to possibly shorting Sui, personally, I would potentially wait for maybe some sort of short-term bounce if we respect this level right here. I'll just wait for at least this daily candle close to confirm in the coming hours here over the next 1 day, because if this daily candle close confirms at roughly around 355 or anything above that level, technically we could see a slight little bounce here, or holding above this support, at least for now, because we do have this Fibonacci level here at around $3.55. But if we confirm daily candle closes below 355, and especially if we fail to get back above that level, if we flip that into new resistance, then that would be a signal to potentially open a short position targeting the next major level of support sitting at around $3.09. And if we're looking at what happened last time in this previous pullback, if we're looking at the Fibonacci retracement, we basically pulled exactly back down towards the golden pocket area of support, which is the most important area of support in the Fibonacci areas, the Fibonacci levels. And so if we're taking a look at the retracement just from this most recent high to low, as we could see right here, the golden pocket area of support for this retracement right here is sitting in between roughly $2.88 to $2.95. And once again, we could see this Fibonacci level acting as a bit of support here, also at around 345, which is one reason why I'll potentially wait a little bit to maybe open a short position. Obviously, if you're already in a short from this bearish divergence here, obviously you're already doing well. But let's just say if you missed this bearish move so far to actually short Sui or short some other altcoins, once again, I'll just wait a little bit, wait at least a few hours or 1 or 2 days, just a little bit here in the short term to see if we maybe see a slight little bounce from this support, because obviously obviously, just like how you would not want to open a long at major resistance, you would also not really want to open a short at some potential support. And so I'll just simply be a little bit patient here in the short term to wait for potentially a better entry. If we see some sort of bounce here, that could give us once again a better entry for a short position, considering at least for now, we're still playing out a major bearish divergence, which could likely last for a couple of weeks. Another 1 to 2 weeks is a very likely scenario. And of course, if I do open any new trades, I will be sharing that here on the channel. So make sure you subscribe to this channel with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these important update videos where I'm pretty much always sharing these trading opportunities and sharing how to make money in the crypto market, no matter what the price is doing. It doesn't matter if prices are bullish or bearish, we can profit in both directions, as I've been showing transparently over the last few days, profiting from short positions. And if we're taking a quick look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, Chainlink has now officially confirmed the break below this very important area of support on the price chart based on previous significant resistance, which at least for the last couple of weeks here was acting as some important support. But now we've seen a clear daily candle close well below this area, because this area was sitting in between around $17.50 to $18 in case you're new to the channel, and the latest daily candle close confirmed at even below $17, closer towards $16.90. And so this is just further confirming the fact that we're heading in the bearish direction, at least for the next few days or weeks. Basically, the shorter term trend, if you want to call it that, is currently pointing in the bearish direction. And once again, I've already been warning about this over the last 1 to 2 weeks, while Bitcoin has been showing a lot of weakness in the short term, but especially while the Bitcoin dominance is holding above this support, currently bouncing. Once again, this is bad news for the altcoins, as I've been saying, as I've been repeating myself every day over more than 1 week now. And so now that the price of Chainlink has clearly broken below this key area on the price chart, I'd now expect resistance again in this area. So if we were to see a little bit of a bounce here, expect resistance in between $17.50 to $18. And as for the next major point of support to watch out for, that's sitting at roughly $15.50. And so this is also potentially another short position opportunity to target around $15.50 as to take profit for a short position. But let's just say if you missed the entry at $17.50 to open a short position, personally, I'll just be a little bit patient. Like I said, for Sui, potentially if we see a slight little bounce here in the immediate short term, because once again, at least for now, Bitcoin is running into a little bit of short-term support, while XRP, for example, is also bouncing from this key point of support. So while a lot of other major altcoins are currently experiencing a bit of short-term bounces, this really flows over to a lot of other altcoins like Chainlink, Sui, for example, playing out some slight little bounces in the immediate short term. So I'll just be a little bit patient here, maybe waiting for another few hours or another 1 to 2 days max to potentially see some sort of slight little bounce here before getting maybe a better entry into a short position. But overall, I will still be looking for short positions and not long positions, at least for now. And once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, get set up ready to go using the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.